Kalamazoo is about to play host to some of the best young musicians in the country. From 9 to 22 years of age, they'll be performing in the Gilmore Young Artist Showcase, a new 9-day event of the Gilmore Keyboard Festival featuring recitals and concert performances by young pianists with extraordinary talent. In the next half hour, we'll learn more about this showcase and its lineup of the classical and jazz prodigies. We'll also meet 3 of West Michigan's best young musicians, including a pianist from Hamilton who is currently competing on a national level, a young violin player from Kalamazoo with prodigious talent, and a Western Michigan University student from Grand Rapids who is a featured jazz pianist in the showcase. Their exceptional talent inspires a sense of wonder. We'll learn about the special needs and aspirations of these gifted young artists. They are living extraordinary musical lives. They are children of music.
At the age of 3, my mother started to teach me the notes. She herself does teach piano lessons, so she started to teach me how to play and the names of the notes and what they look like on the staff. And in the first grade, I took from Katrine Hillebrand from Zealand for 10 years, and then I started with Miss Conway 2 years ago. I really enjoy playing now. When I was younger, it was a struggle to get through the practicing and all the hard work that went along with it, but it's rewarding to get in front of an audience and to play and do your best.
I've watched her for years develop, and I always knew she was a big talent. And so when her teacher asked me if I'd take her on, I was very happy to. But I must say I was a little disturbed about her lack of focus, what I perceived as a lack of focus. I wrote a little bio for a newspaper article, and it was sort of laughable because she's in National Honor Society, President of Student Congress, tennis team, Dutch dance, Young Life, 4-point student, Kalamazoo Junior Symphony on the French horn. And then just recently, she won the Kalamazoo Junior Symphony Concerto competition. So she'll play with them March 7th as soloist. So in a way, it's a surprise to me that she's able to do this well and be that diversified.
I can't find anything to put away. I've looked at my schedule and looked at my activities and saying, you know, what can I drop or what can I leave out just so I can spend more time and focus on one certain area. But I enjoy it all, and I don't want to give anything up, at least for now. You know, to be able to be busy. I'm bored when I don't have a lot of things to do.
She's learned how to pull herself together and do whatever activity she has to do at that minute. So she comes into her lesson, sometimes she's in a cheerleading outfit. She's got her pom-poms and she's on her way to tennis practice or something, but she can just sort of click the button and put her mind into piano playing.
You know, and it seems a pity to me to carry the idea that you've got to spend your whole childhood just doing this, because music, when all said and done, is not a sport, and it's actually fundamentally not a physical pursuit, it's a mental pursuit. And so in order to leave the mind developed, you've got to take some time off from developing the body, strikes me. But you know, it's a very difficult balance to get. Really, music is something that it's fun to do yourself, even if you don't want to do it professionally yourself.
Right now I'm looking to major in piano performance, but ever since a toddler I've wanted to go into medicine of some form, and that's still a goal of mine. I know I will continue with my horn and piano, whether I'm in an orchestra in my spare time if I have any, and then to continue with my piano, at least for my own enjoyment. if not to perform.
Institutions of education, teachers, they're all there to serve the pupil. And it's important that the pupil should see what he thinks he wants and should get it. And then there's very little problem with narrowness, because very few people are narrow if they're left to themselves. They're only narrow because they're in some sort of unimaginative subjection to somebody who particularly wants them to end up in such a way. What you can learn most of all from a child's attitude to music, which us hard-bitten old professionals sometimes forget, is why you're doing it at all. And you're doing it because you want to.
Young Artist Showcase will feature return performances by the 1991 Gilmore artist David Owen Norris and the first Young Artist Award winners Wendy Chen, Peter Miyamoto, Brenda Huang, and Christopher Taylor. The focus of the showcase is the announcement of the new Young Artist Awards. 3 American pianists under the age of 22 will each be awarded $15,000 scholarships for career development.
A big part of what we do at the Gilmore Festival focuses on identifying really gifted young people, American pianists under the age of 22. And part of what we hope will happen with the money that we give to our winners is that it will allow them to focus just on music, studying, practicing, and not have to go out and play concerts to make money or enter competitions to make money, enter competitions to further their career. But it gives them a little bit of breathing time to focus on what they're doing. We're also bringing in some very young pianists, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, both in classical and jazz categories. The classical pianists come from as far away as Vancouver and Los Angeles. The jazz pianists come from Los Angeles and actually from right here in Michigan. Xavier Davis is from Grand Rapids and studies at Western Michigan University and deserves to be right up there with the big guys. He's a wonderful talent. In the classical prodigy program, we have Victoria Chow. I heard her play the Ravel Concerto a year ago when she was only 8. You just won't believe it. And then a couple of much older kids, 11, 12 years old, who are playing masterpieces of the repertoire, and these kids are terrific. And I think people just won't believe their ears or their eyes when they see these kids. We have Magnus Austin from Los Angeles, who is very cute. He's sure of himself, he knows he's good, he has a wonderful way with audiences, he's just adorable on stage. Then we have from Nicaragua, Donald Vega, whose family left Nicaragua and came up to Los Angeles a few years ago. Donald Vega, I think, is going to be a very serious jazz pianist. And then Xavier Davis, student of Steve Zagri at Western Michigan University, who's a terrific pianist.
In order to keep music live, one needs a constant supply of young artists, and one needs a constant supply of young audiences who are just as important. And the way that one can foster both of them is by setting up some sort of a media event, like a Young Artist Showcase, for example, where young artists have the opportunity to perform to people. And I think that's by far the most important aspect of young artists, because they're the new people who are coming up serving music. And certainly the Gilmore Keyboard Festival have contributed to it. I think it shows that it is open to the new, while of course retaining the best of the old. But while retaining the best of the old, there have to be new ideas coming in, and I think we get these from new artists. I think the Gilmore experience has got it right. I think Gilmore is doing exactly what needs to be done. And I look back at my own childhood and I think of the occasions that I remember, and they were occasions when I was doing musical things together with a lot of people. And those are the really life-enriching experiences, and it's those that a lot of very lucky people will be enjoying in Kalamazoo in January.
When she was about 5 or so, 5 and a half, she wanted to start the violin. I'm a piano mom. I wanted my children to start on piano to get the fundamentals. I was surprised when she first started that it didn't sound scratchy, so I thought, well, maybe she'll play the violin, I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, as her mom, I've been amazed at the fact that she's taken to it. She used to walk around the house with a violin under her chin practically when she was younger.
One of the things that I've tried very, very hard to do is to be sure that I'm not amazed by her. I don't think I dare, because then I won't teach her anything. Her fine motor skills are so far advanced.
Watch my elbow and the weight in my hand. Yeah, that's right. But in a faster tempo. Yeah, there you go.
Since her level of ability is so high, it's difficult not to just let it stay there. And yet I know there's more out there, and I'm not going to be the one to put the limits on her.
For some reason, maybe the new bow a little bit longer and all those things, your thumb is starting to do this, and we want to catch that right now.
My first rule, it's actually my only rule, and it's, if it's not wrong, it's right. Now, what that implies is that there are certain ways of doing music wrong, and all the other ways are right. And I think that in presenting young artists with challenges and new repertoire and so on, one needs to let them put what their experience of the world is into what will become their music.
Well, when I heard the violin, I liked the sound of it a lot, and so I asked her if I could take violin. I'm trying to get the notes really clear and to get the expression.
There was no squeak.
They say that I should do things slowly if I can't do them right, and I don't always like that part, but it does work.
It does work? Why do you think it works?
Because then you get used to where the notes are.
Yes.
And then what happens with those notes?
And then they're clear and the pitches are right.
I want her to enjoy her music. enjoy her instrument, bring beauty, bring enjoyment to others with it, and enjoyment to herself. That's my biggest wish in her musical life.
Xavier Davis is a student of mine here at Western Michigan University, and he's a jazz studies major. He transferred here after 2 years at the University of Michigan, where he was majoring in engineering. But after, I think, a couple of years of study there in that curriculum, decided really what he wanted to do was music. And what's ironic and interesting about Xavier is that he really wasn't playing much piano, or at least studying piano. He's a graduate of the Interlochen Arts Academy High School, and when he was at Interlochen, his primary instrument was trombone. So piano has always been something that's been part of his background, but he only took a few lessons for a year or two from his mother when he was 10. And so when he had come to me as a student, he really hadn't had much in the way of actual piano lessons.
As much as I enjoy doing math and science, physics mainly, you know, that kind of thing, I found myself always going over to the music school and practicing and, you know, trying to get together a few guys so we could play. And I realized that that's what I had to do because there was for some reason I just was drawn to it. And I think that's the main turning point because that was a big decision that I had to make, and I had to I had to dedicate myself to it if I was going to do it. It does get difficult. I kind of have to decide on what I'm going to do, you know, while I'm here. What's the purpose of being here? You know, why don't I just move to New York now? And I have to realize, you know, there are certain things that I have to achieve while I'm here and stay focused in those areas, you know, whether it's technique or learning more about the history of the music. It's hard because I just want to play.
There is no other way to get better at a musical instrument other than practice. So that's something that all students need to learn, and the sooner they learn that concept, the better they're going to be. In the case of the highly talented, there's also a real fostering and nurturing that needs to take place. And I sometimes think of it as not necessarily leading the horse to water and forcing him to drink, but perhaps leading the horse to water and figuring out ways to make him thirsty.
It's a balancing act between taking seriously what the child's concepts and expectations are, and at the same time leading them towards what they could be. Not towards what they've got to be, but towards what they could be, which might surprise us who are expecting a particular result. You know, I mean, we might get something very remarkable.
Jazz to me is allows me to express myself. I can not only use dynamics and touch to express myself, but note choice. I could feel pressure, but I don't really feel pressure because I think that I'm doing this for me. I mean, the reason I switched from engineering was so that I could do something that I enjoy doing. And, you know, sure, if I can please myself and please everyone else too, then that's great. But if everyone else doesn't, you know, for some reason doesn't agree with what I'm going to do or what I enjoy doing, the directions I'm going to take or whatever, then, you know, that's unfortunate. But I don't feel pressured into making them happy.
He last year was selected as the outstanding pianist at the Montreux Detroit Jazz Festival, and was also selected as the outstanding pianist at the prestigious Notre Dame Intercollegiate Jazz Festival. In terms of talent, Xav is in the highest echelon right now already, and his playing, when it just develops just a slight bit more of refinement, he's destined for a wonderful career in music. There's no doubt in my mind.
I'd like to have my own recording trio, but I don't know, you know, I can't say like I aspire to one day play with Branford on the Jay Leno show or anything, you know. I mean, it's mainly, I want to be happy playing this music.
Bye.